eventually come to a winnable formula for your business. Next. So basically, what we are really saying here is the two parts of your, your business customer validation. One is the discovering what the customer wants and how he's going to pay, and use that to actually arrive at various hypotheses and a combination of multiple factors that will allow us to test those combinations, and then get into execution mode where you actually then create a customer and generate the value. So by and large, many times you see that the point we said about the business model not surviving the first customer contact is this classic case where we haven't spent a lot of time on iterating our business model and trying it out before we get to the market. We meet so many entrepreneurs who are afraid to talk to customers at early stage, right? Because they think their idea will be stolen, whatever it is. I had this guy just yesterday, and I just have to share this with you. I come from Pune, and every day from 4 to 6 on all weekdays, I spend time in Thai office, and we just meet early stage entrepreneurs. Just no agenda, talk. But normally it tends to be, this is my idea, what do I do and all that. So these are 3 brilliant guys, 2 guys working in UK, 1 guy working in Pune, and they want to start an education product. They want to have an education product. The first 10 minutes he told me how brilliant the product is and how unique and innovative this model is, and blah 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 blah. And I said, great. So have you talked to the customers? He said, yeah, we started talking to the customers. What are the customers saying? The most important things that we think are most innovative are absolutely of no relevance to them. They don't even want to hear about it. So I said, okay, so where are you? He said, you've got version 0.5 of our product. We spent 4 months out of the 12 months, and we've finished 40% of the money. So what do you want to do? We want to finish the next 60%, so we get to the version 1 of the product, and then we want to sell. So where's the money to sell? He says, no, that's why we want money. I said, why don't you just take the feedback that your customer is giving you now, go to the market with version 0.5, do what the customer wants you to do, and maybe you won't need the funding round. Maybe the customer will fund the business yourself. So those are the things does this resonate? Yeah. So these are the things we as entrepreneurs do all the time, because we like the idea so much. That the customer validation piece is something that misses out.
But I would like to call out one thing. If you take a half-baked product to the customer, right, then it's a wrong validation, because you're not showing the actual product that is going to be the finished product. Yeah.
So it's you've heard of this thing called fail early, fail cheap. Correct. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
There is no earliest time to go to the customer. There is nothing like this is too early to go to customers.
True.
Okay. In fact, I would argue, just to expand on that thought, even before I start write a single line of code, if I am a software product, I somehow come to the software product, but anything I do, even if I do a single step to create a product, if I just say I will spend my time with customers, even before I write anything, I write or do any manufacturing or do any prototyping, anything, do you think it might actually be a better idea than doing half product, as you said, and finding out that is not relevant to the customer? Okay. So what all I'm saying, there is no time that is too early to get to a customer.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
I belong to the software this thing, and as discussed the example, my product talks about educational sector.
Oh,
now the thing is that since this is a relevant topic, I is raising this point. If I go to a college and I show them the half product, nobody wants to see it, and the first question they want is to just demo the project. Without seeing, we can't buy. So how in this case, if you say the development at a later stage, then what do I show them?
Okay, good question. Thing is, when you define your product, there are unique selling propositions of your product, right? And there are bells and whistles, right? There is something that absolutely your product has to have. That is your key thing that you're selling to customers. And then there are things around it, right? Many times, if you just look at your own business or your development cycle for your product development, your key problem you're solving maybe in 2 months, and then next 6 months you're trying to put everything around it so that it looks better and all that. this happens in software product development a lot. It happened in my own product, where the key functionality was developed in a few months and it took years to develop the whole product. And really, the whole product in a software sense never gets done. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. So there is nothing like how I have never seen a software product which said अभी तो पूरा हो गया, इसके बाद में कुछ नहीं बचा है. This never happens. So the point all I'm trying to make is do that minimum thing that is required for the customer to convince that customer that his key issue is being solved. Right? And you may be in for surprises where you think that is a key issue for the customer. When you show that key issue being solved as per your estimate and go to the customer might say, actually this is not what I'm looking for. Right? Then it is better to restart there than go all the way to the end and then, find that out anyway. That's the only point I'm trying to make. It's a big subject, but we do this all the time, especially as software entrepreneurs, because we are so much in love with our ideas that we want to do the whole thing. We just don't want, and this is a little distraction. I'm going to take 2 minutes to share this, my own personal story. Our product is a project management product. Okay? And when we came out with that product 10 years ago, our key value proposition was that if you did a project and 20 of you are working on a project, a task is given to him, everybody. On the web, regardless of the location, people should be able to say this is the status of my task and it goes back and updates the plan. Simple, right? Core functionality of the product. Without this, the product has no life. This functionality, as I said, got developed in 2 months. But when we go to that customer with that functionality and he says, oh, this is really our pain because I got people sitting all over the world and I don't know what they're doing. And if I have this, I will know the status of the project. Correct? Very simple. Now, of course, now the technology has moved so much further 10 years from then that all those things may be available off a direct product. But the point I'm trying to make is when that functionality is done and you sell the product to your first customer, show it to your first customer, and customer really says, wow, I really wanted this. This is really solving my problem. Okay? But in order for that to be deployed in the customer location, you have to do so much more. Correct? But your core functionality, if I have a problem with that, if customer says, look, I don't need this. This is not my problem. You're trying to solve a wrong problem. Then I have a problem. Then I have a challenge at my hand because whatever I do on top of this foundation, customer is not going to find it. And then eventually, he's going to, the whole edifice I will build, whole 20-story building, and the customer says, no, this is not what I want. You're not solving my key problem. So either I'm not going to give the value that you want, or just rebuild the product. And many times, version 1 of the product gets scrapped and rewritten. You heard that story, right? Okay, I will not spend more time on that because that is a distraction from our plan. Next, please. So yeah, these are the various components I was talking about. Next. So, as I said, none of what I'm going to say today is my own invention. Let me admit. Okay, this is a very interesting book. I have a copy. Let me see. Yeah. Who wrote this book? Called Business Model Generation. Okay. I have a copy here. Ketan has a copy too. You can browse whenever you want, and you can buy it off Flipkart. It's 400 rupees. What we're going to do from now on in the next couple of hours is we'll just understand the way in which this book describes how we could generate and articulate our business model. Yeah? That's what we are going to do in the next few hours. Next. Business model. We discussed a little bit about what is business model. What do you mean by the word business model? Now I want you to take 5 minutes and you have pieces of paper with you. Please write down, in addition to whatever we discussed before, what you think is a business model. Take 5 minutes, write on the piece of paper that all of you have.
I think a few of them do not have the papers, so
you can use at the back of the paper.
whoever has extra can share it. Does anyone have extra 2 sheets of paper? Yeah.
There is one there. I promised you that I'll make you guys work in this workshop, okay? Anyone else? Yeah, you have something? Yeah.
I would say a business model is,
So we'll try and capture the keywords, okay? That you may be.
Yeah, what I understand is that they are the elements of your business and how they are configured and how they interact to create revenue for your business.
Okay.
So basically, elements of your business, how they are configured, and how they interact with each other.
Right.
To generate revenue.
Okay. Any other perspectives? You said revenue, right? Okay. Right.
I think they are a set of steps which I'll take some words which were there initially in your presentation, which are scalable and repeatable, which will continue to generate value. So if the series of steps is followed, value is generated.
So we talked about generating revenue, we talked about generating value. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to say that when we were talking about changes, something changed, so some model came up. Something which is called a gap. Even though nothing changes, always you can identify a gap, a way of doing it better.
Right.
Creating efficiency, destroying layers, making it faster, I would say.
Yeah. So it's not just about status quo, but finding out gaps, creating more efficient models. Okay.
It is a plan of going about delivering which was once just an idea and changing it into a revenue generating and user servicing model.
Okay, so you are putting some user perspective in this now. Okay, good. Customers, yeah, users / customers. That's a good point. Yeah. Someone else here? Yeah.
business, but then it's like a prototype or a model which wherein you find out the links between one and the another, like customer and the service providing organization.
Okay.
And it's like a proof of concept you are developing.
You're proving the hypothesis by defining those linkages. Okay. Yes. Here we have.
Business model means product or service required by a customer. I may think of it as a product, but if it doesn't mean it's not a product. So product or service required by a customer, I give this product to him, he pays to me.
Right.
So it's a cheap.
But what I'm hearing is the generation of the need happens at the customer end and not starts with the customer is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay, that's good.
He'll decide whether it needs or not.
Right. Many times we get into this trap that we think, why are customers not buying my super duper product, right?
This is a simulation of business variables or business dynamics, the way you
simulate your business variables and dynamics. I always like this game of Sudoku. How many of you played game of Sudoku? Right? So it's so funny, right? I mean, you change one variable and everything has to change. And it's pretty much like that, right? Okay, good point.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but somehow I see a business model as somewhat like a jigsaw puzzle. Like you identify some gaps and you're trying to fill it, and at the end of it you should have some sort of a plan which fits completely without having any loose ends, and it will help you just meet the gaps that you left out.
Correct. Jigsaw puzzle or a Sudoku game, yes. Where you're trying to put pieces together and see if they're all fitting together nicely.
For me, a business plan or a business model is putting across all the parameters which will derive the revenues and costs of a piece of paper, and then making the most realistic assumptions around them. I mean, how many customers will be there? So putting across all the sectors and then making assumptions surrounding to that, which should be most realistic.
So you put in the cost perspective here as well, right? Okay. I think we have covered a lot of them. Yeah, last one.
I think in addition to users and customers, you should also deliver value to the founder or the investor who is putting in the money.
Yeah. So value to everyone, right? Where is the value? Okay, this is value. Okay. Very important, right? Okay. So I think we've covered a lot of them. Yeah, you guys.
I would just say that simply it's the business model essentially defines as to how my business will make money. So it essentially establishes the linkages of all the stakeholders, how who will be my partners, and what will I do with my product, the processing, the production, post-production, after sales. So essentially it links all those elements and answers to my question as to how my business will make cash.
Cash generation of cash or money, yes. You said it's correct, right? And so those are the key elements of what a business model should be. Now what we're trying to do now is to see how we could actually create this as a, somebody said it's making money. That was the last point, and that's what I had written. All the parts of the company necessary to make money. Right? Why is it important that everyone in the company understands clearly what those parts are? Two people in a company or many people in the company may have different perspectives. Do you see this happen all the time? Wherein the founder has a perspective of what is it that the business is doing and how is it that the business is serving its customers and how is it that it is generating money, and the people that are surrounding the founder or the entrepreneur actually may not have the same thought. Does it happen?
Yes.
Usually? Yes. Many times? Always? Right? So one of the things we are trying to do here is this mismatch where what the founder or the entrepreneur thinks, what the business thinks, and what the people understand as the key things that deliver value. There is a perception difference, right?
People, you mean to say the partner?
The whole ecosystem, it could be partners, even the people in your own company. Many times you get into a situation that the guy who is in charge of purchasing and the guy who is in charge of, let's say, delivery have two different perspectives, because they think their job, purchases guy is to buy it cheap, the delivery guy's job is to deliver quickly. Now these two have inherent contradictions, right? If you want to buy cheap, it may be at a longer delivery cycle, right? So, but unless there is a common vocabulary or understanding of what the business wants, you always have a challenge of telling each individual stakeholders what their role, how it adds up to the whole vision of the company. Am I making sense? Okay. So one of the things we do is when you are around a table and you are talking about whatever, your business vision, how your company sits and everything, the other people in the company, you may be very passionate about it and you are talking all the time, but other people don't hear the same thing as you are saying, right? And what we are trying to do here is to create that common vocabulary. So the key parts of what we are saying are understood, and there is a common, intersecting language that we can communicate, right? Okay. Now comes what is called as a business model canvas. We are doing okay on the time. So, business model canvas is a tool to describe, challenge, design and invent business model in a more systematic way. That is what we are going to learn. A fairly easy technique to do this systematically. We will talk about the 9 building blocks of a business model canvas. You are all with me? Somebody is doing BlackBerry, browsing. Okay. Now we are really going to get into the actual canvas. for the next 1 hour. Yeah. The first component of this canvas is customer segments. And there are two words in this, customer and segments. I want you to first share what your thought is about the word customer, and then what is a segment. Anyone? What is a customer? Talk about it. Okay. Revenue generator, okay. Yes.
Yeah, so customers are the guys who pay for the product or the service, and they're not. It's not a uniform or a coherent group. That's why it's important to segment the entire group and the relevant segment for your product.
Right. Customer segment or segmenting your customer, right, is a very important exercise that one must do. Is my product same for everyone? My service same for everyone? If it is not, then we need to find out what is my segmentation of customers, right? A customer segment perhaps can be defined as a unique buying, set of groups of your customers that have unique buying patterns, buying behaviors, right? So, and you have a way to demographically determine what those variables are that determine the customer segment. The reason customer segmentation is a very important step is because the customer segments actually determine a lot of things that are going to follow from here. I'm going to give you one example of customer segment which I like really very much. And I would like a few examples from this group and then we'll move on to the next one. But any one of you from Chennai? Okay, there's one person from Chennai. So,
I stayed for 2 years over there.
2 years was there, no problem. But if this happens anywhere, you can say even Mumbai. In Chennai, there is something called as tiffin restaurants. Tiffin restaurants are 3 or 4 story buildings that are on a small plot of land, and they serve idli, vada, dosa and uttappa and all that, right? They have got 3 or 4 floors. On the ground floor, it's all open. There is a guy who you have to pay, get a little slip of what you are going to buy, go to the counter, on a piece or on that paper plate, he'll give you the idli and put some chutney on it and all that. You eat. There is a water cooler at the end, and there's a glass hanging by the a little wire. You use that to drink water. Okay. Idli is 5 rupees. Okay. You go to the first floor. You got a seating place. Not very corporate, not very good. Okay, you can go sit. And somebody will say, "Kya what do you want?" Say, "Okay." He'll quickly give it to you. Maybe write on a piece of paper and you will pay at the end. Go to the second floor and there's an air-conditioned restaurant. And the waiter there is a little bit and this first floor guy will pay 10 rupees for it. Right? Go to the second floor, the guy will say, "What do you want, sir? Can I give you water first?" and all that. Then we charge 30 rupees, 40 rupees for it. The same product to a different set of customers is being sold so differently at different price points. And the person who goes and buys idli at the bottom, on the ground floor, is not the same customer who goes and sits on the second floor, right? A very good way to segment your customers. The same product, same location, but a set of different customer segments that is being serviced at a different price point. Any examples that come to your mind when you say customer segmentation? For your own business or for some other businesses? Yes.
Each doctor charges differently as per the room.
As per the room, yeah, exactly. This is a great example.
Airline.
Yeah. Expand that a little bit more. Expand it. What is airline?
And the airline service is different.
Yeah.
But in the case of a doctor, he's giving the same surgery in the same service and he's charging a different price.
Okay. And that's also another segment. There's a segment of customers who want to fly from place A to place B, but pay a differential price for a different set of services. That's a good example, and that is also one. Yeah.
Go to see a movie, normal multiplex and a normal theater, single theater, so you charge different for the same movie.
Right. So, any other examples? Quick.
Software applications every day of the
versions, a pro version and a home edition.
That's a good one. There's a premium model, right? Something you download and use without paying. But the moment you want this feature, you want to download your data file, pay so much. Okay. Yeah.
I think the segmentation, apart from price point, can also be done on needs.
Absolutely.
So like for us, like Shopping Wish, we see that one of our target segment is mothers, right? So working mothers for whom we are providing shopping assistance over phone for their regular needs. Another one is geeks who are penny pinchers and basically deal hunters. We help them find the best price.
Right.
So we are serving the same product.
Absolutely.
But the requirements are so unique that we have to provide a different kind of basically interface, or what the detail of our offers we have to be different for different.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, ma'am.
If there is a diamond jewelry,
yes.
the various kind of quality in diamonds depends for the customer, which kind of quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the point we are trying to make here is that there is no one customer, right? If you say one customer, there are multiple segments in that. I met an entrepreneur. I'm sure this is the story of many entrepreneurs, and he did he created a mini ERP. Okay, this is a very familiar thing, right? A lot of people create mini ERPs. And I said, okay, so tell me who is your customer. He said, anyone can be my customer because this product is so comprehensive. It can work for anybody. Now, even if technologically that is true, would it actually pose a big problem for that entrepreneur who go to so-called everybody? It will be a big challenge, right? So then you ask a question, so have you implemented it somewhere? He says, yeah, one customer, two customers. What business are they in? So they happen to be, say, discrete manufacturing workshops. What size? 25 crores in revenue. What do they do? Electrical, mechanical, whatever it is. Mechanical. Okay. So maybe it may be a good idea, even if your product is absolutely the same for this and for the 500 crore company, or for the, something, it actually might help the entrepreneur to define your market, saying that my product works best for a discrete mechanical manufacturing workshop that are of 25 crore or thereabouts in revenue. The reason for that is all your strategies that follow after this are going to be using this to segment that market. And you can move to other segment, adjacent segment. But segmenting your customer, right, is a very important, and identifying all the segments that you can address with your product or service is also another way to define your customer segment. Any parting thoughts on customer segment before I move to the next building block? Anybody has any? Yes.
It's important to segment the consumer or the customer on, as you already said, demographic, psychographic, behavioral aspects, because you could have products, for different segments across different kinds of segmentation. So it's important to segment multiple kinds of segmentation on demographics, behavioral, psychographic, geographic.
Yes.
So that you could create a differentiated product and try to cover all the possible segments as possible.
And many times, I just have to submit that the product may not actually be differentiated. It's the way you present it to the customer is just for the ease of sales, right? So product can be exactly the same idli, right, that you are selling on all floors. It's made in the same kitchen, but sold at two different kinds of customers. Here are some thoughts on how potentially we could segment our marketplaces. And I just wanted to spend a few minutes in trying to understand these. There are products that are mass market kind of products. There is no real niche as such, right? I mean, when there is a mass market product and there is no distinguishable customer, the things that determine whether the sale is made or not are very different as compared to something else, right?